Hey folks, this is the Other Barak coming to you live and direct here from the Holy Land in Israel. Today we have a video of Melanie Phillips, who is talking about how anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Make sure you stick around to the end of this video for today's Hebrew word of the day. Let's get into Melanie's video.
Ladies and gentlemen, I never visited Israel at all until the year 2000, and I never wanted to go there. It didn't sound the kind of place which had anything to offer me. So, when in the year 2000 I objected as a matter of sheer rationality and justice that while Israelis were being blown to bits in buses and cafes during what was called the Second Intifada, they were being called Nazis for dealing with the perpetrators, I was astounded to be immediately attacked as a Jew. I was accused immediately of dual loyalty, of being too Jewish, and of waving the shroud of the Holocaust to sanitize the crimes of Israel. Well, I think you can see the same pattern in today's Labour Party crisis over anti-Semitism, in which anti-Semitic motifs about Jewish global conspiracies are conflated with attacks on Israel. At one meeting, Jeremy Corbyn noted of two Zionist opponents in the audience that despite, quote, having lived in this country for a very long time, they don't understand English irony, using the smear that as British Jews, they didn't actually belong in Britain. The Palestine Solidarity campaign is riddled with anti-Semitic comments, such as that the Paris Bataclan massacre was a false flag operation to increase support for Israel, or that Kristallnacht was instigated by communist and Freemason Jews to promote war against Germany. Today, a German neo-Nazi group has linked to the BDS movement, noting with approval its efforts to isolate the Zionist aggressor state in defense of the rights of Palestinian people. The language of BDS and the far right is interchangeable. Those who say anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism would have us believe that all this is simply a coincidence. I say it is not, and that anti-Zionism is weaponizing anti-Semitism, and this is why. Let's define, first of all, what we're talking about. What is Zionism? Nothing more or less than the self-determination of the Jewish people in their ancient homeland of Israel. What is anti-Semitism? A delusional hatred and fear of Jews, Judaism, or the Jewish people. But anti-Semitism is not like other prejudices. It has unique characteristics applied to no other group, people, or cause, such as an obsessional and unhinged narrative based entirely on lies, accusing Jews of crimes of which they are not only innocent but the victims, holding them to standards expected of no one else, depicting them as global conspiracy of unique malice and power. Amazing, anti-Zionism has exactly the same characteristics. Don't get me wrong, criticism of Israel's policies, robust criticism, is entirely legitimate, but anti-Zionism is different.
That's such an important note because I live in Israel and I'm Israeli, and I criticize the Israeli government when I don't agree with what they're doing. And in any democratic country and place and nation, you should be able to do that. It's really important to understand.
Anti-Zionism demonizes, dehumanizes, and delegitimizes Israel in order to bring about its destruction. You may hear some of this slander this evening. The lie, for example, that Israel is an apartheid state when Israeli Arabs have equal civil and religious rights. The lie of ethnic cleansing when the Arab population in the disputed territories has more than quadrupled since Israel's rebirth in 1948. The lie that the Israelis are willful child killers when they in fact go to unique lengths to avoid killing civilians in their always defensive wars, and when the ratio of civilians to fighters that the Israelis kill is at least 3 or 4 times better than any other country, including Britain. The lie of Israel's human rights violations when it's the only country in the Middle East where Arab Muslims and Christians, women and gays can live in freedom and safety. Fundamentally, anti-Zionism is based on the big lie that the Jews seized and occupied another people's land. But history and law show that's completely untrue. The Jews are the only extant indigenous people of the land. Israel was their kingdom more than 3,000 years ago. Driven out when it was occupied, they maintained a continuous presence in the land under the waves of colonialism: Assyrian, Roman, Abbasid, Mamluk, Ottoman, the British. They fought off Arab colonialists to re-establish their state in 1948 and are still fighting off Arab colonialism. The Palestine Mandate of 1922 which parceled out the former Ottoman Empire, enshrined their right to settle throughout that land, a right that endures unaltered in international law. The law also entitles Israel to hold on to land seized from its attackers while that land remains the launchpad for attacks, demonstrably true. The Jews are therefore fully entitled to live in both Israel and the disputed territories, even though they have always agreed to share it with those Arabs who lay a claim to it. But the Palestinians have refused to share it and have responded to repeated offers of a state of their own with terrorism and war. Israel is the only place where Jewish peoplehood makes sense, but anti-Zionism singles out the Jewish people alone as having no right to their homeland.
The next time that you have a conversation with someone who denies what she just said at the end, which is that the Palestinian people have continuously denied the idea of coming to the peace treaty solution, of coming to some sort of final answer here is, how do we live side by side as neighbors? And if you were to ask anyone who supports the Palestinian movement to go back into history, have them try and attempt to point out when the Palestinians came to the drawing table and came up with an offer or a counter offer. Every single time Israel has asked Palestinians to have peace once and for all, the Palestinians back then, still today, and will continue to deny and not be willing to have peace with Israel. This isn't my opinion. I'm just stating the truth. It's not debatable. Like, you can just go back into the different peace treaties that were offered to the Palestinian people. Israel has tried so many times. They keep trying so many times. How many times what's the definition of insanity? How many times can Israel keep trying to do it over and over and over and over and over and over again until they realize, well, all it's leading to is more wars, more hate, more violence, more despair, more media and propaganda in the West? It's not helping anything. It's not helping anyone. So if you're arguing with a pro-Palestinian about how Israel, the Zionist entity, is the reason why we don't have peace in the Middle East, ask them to show you with evidence when the Palestinian people, the leaders, the Grand Mufti, all of them, Husseini, who spent time with Hitler and Germany in Berlin, ask them to show you the dates and the proof of when the Palestinians said, if A, B, and C, and D, and E are met, we will be willing to live side by side with the Israelis. You can't show me it. What you can show me is that they have continuously throughout history repeated themselves in one way. Their mission is to destroy the state of Israel, the Jews, off of earth. All of it, everything, period, end of story. They are trying to accomplish what Hitler tried to help them with, which is the final solution. And Israel is undergoing right now Arab colonialism, this idea of being Arabized. That's what happened to all these places. It used to be ruled by this land that I'm sitting on right now, has been colonized many times by the Ottoman Empire, by the British. And now you have these other Arab colonies trying to come in and do the same thing that they did in the past, but now take advantage of modern society with technology and everyone else's ability to be brainwashed very quickly through this modern technology to make it look like it is Israel's fault, that everything is Israel's fault. Israel is doing everything in order to maintain its levels of peace, its levels of war that we have. I think things could be worse. October 7th was the tipping point. But if Israel hadn't been here, you don't think that October 7th wouldn't be happening between Gaza and Hezbollah, between Syria and Egypt? You don't think that the IRGC from Iran would have their way here too? And the Houthi rebels from Yemen, you think they wouldn't take a ship and come all the way up here too? You think there wouldn't be any October 7ths here among their Arab friends? Where's the Muslim Brotherhood? Where are the brothers and sisters here trying to help themselves out? Where's Jordan opening up their borders for the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip? Where are they? Where are they? Oh, Israel. But yet Israel has a 20% population of Arab people. 2 million people inside of Israel are Arab. are literally Arab. I'm sitting in Tel Aviv, and down the street you have Yafo, and they pray 5 times a day. I've made videos before about how you can go and hear the prayer call at the mosques outside. You see Wolt delivery drivers with food, burgers, and pizza who pull over just to take their 2-3 minutes to pray before they carry on to finish their delivery. And this is an apartheid state. Really. It's unbelievable. All you have to do is come to Israel to see it for yourself instead of having to listen to me. Thank you for today's video. We're going to go into now the last segment, which is today's Hebrew word of the day, which is tisa. Tisa means flight. So if anybody's traveling at any point soon, I wish you a tisa ne'ima, which is a safe flight. And with that being said, I have one more thing. Please stick around. If you believe in me and what I'm doing and you want to help this platform grow, your help is needed. You can support right now through PayPal or buy me a coffee. But the best way to support is to join my Patreon, the Inner Circle. You'll get incredible perks, bonus content, and you will help this channel stay alive. Oh, and you have to join our Discord. It is free with people from literally all over the world. And that's it. I appreciate every bit of support. Thank you for being on this journey with me.